Agua Dulce y Amor. Here on Democracy Now!, democracynow.org, The War and Peace Report. We're on the road in Washington, D.C. I am Amy Goodman. As we turn to a part of the world few Americans know about, I'm talking about the Western Sahara, a disputed territory in North Africa bordering Morocco, Mauritania, and Algeria. Formerly controlled by Spain, Morocco's occupied most of the territory since 1975, just when the Western Sahara was gaining its independence from Spain. In October, a Western Saharan human rights activist named Aminatou Haidar was in New York to receive the 2009 Civil Courage Prize for her nonviolent resistance to the Moroccan occupation of Sahrawi land. She's often called the Sahrawi Gandhi. When she returned home a few weeks later, she was arrested by Moroccan officials. They seized her Moroccan passport and expelled her against her will to an airport on Spain's Canary Islands. Moroccan authorities say she was deported because she refused to sign a paper saying she was a Moroccan citizen and declared Western Sahara as her country of origin on the immigration entry form. Aminatou Haidar began a hunger strike inside Lanzarote airport in the Canary Islands over 2 weeks ago. She demands that she be allowed to return to her home in the Western Sahara. But she remains in the airport, surrounded by supporters, her health deteriorating. Aminatou's supporters include the Robert F. Kennedy Center for Justice and Human Rights, which honored her last year, and Spanish celebrities like film director Pedro Almodovar and actors Javier Bardem and Guillermo Willie Toledo. We're joined now by three guests. Yes, the actor Willie Toledo is with us on the line from inside the Lanzarote airport in the Spanish-controlled Canary Islands. He is next to Aminatou Haidar, who remains on hunger strike. He hasn't left her side. Here in Washington, D.C., I'm joined by Mouloud Said. He's the Washington, D.C. representative of the Polisario, the Sahrawi independence movement. And from Mountain View, California, we're joined by University of San Francisco professor Stephen Zunes, the author, along with Jacob Mundy, of the forthcoming book Western Sahara, Nationalism, Conflict, and International Accountability. We welcome you all to Democracy Now! I want to first go to Stephen Zunes, just for an American audience, in addition to people around the world. Explain exactly what this conflict is before we go to the Canary Islands, where the human rights activist is right now in her third week of a hunger strike.
What we're looking at is a situation quite comparable to East Timor, in that it was a late decolonizing, relatively small colony that was invaded and gobbled up by a powerful neighbor, in violation of the most basic principles of the United Nations Charter and international law. But because the powerful neighbor happened to have powerful friends, in this case, United States and Morocco, a whole series of UN Security Council resolutions calling for an end of the occupation and the right of self-determination have been ignored. And the people of Western Sahara initially took up arms to fight the Moroccans, but agreed to a ceasefire in 1991 in return for Moroccan promises of a referendum to determine the fate of the territory. But the Moroccans continually blocked that referendum from going forward. And more recently, the independence struggle has turned to a nonviolent struggle, what they call an intifada for independence, of which Aminatou Haidar is the most significant leader.
Mouloud Said, you're here in Washington, D.C. Talk about where you see this struggle going and the significance of Aminatou's hunger strike right now, what it means.
Good morning, Amy, and thank you very much for paying attention to this extremely sad situation. It's really sad what's happening. It's extremely sad that this happens in the 21st century. All of us were so hopeful after listening to President Obama at the United Nations last September, when he expressed his commitment to the human rights and his commitment to the right to every people, the right to self-determination. This is a clear case now for the U.S. administration and the U.S. President to show his commitment. This is the first time ever where an occupying power, where we had experiences in the past in Namibia when it was occupied by South Africa, by the racist regime of South Africa. We had the experience with Indonesia when they occupied East Timor. Never, ever a human rights activist was expelled from his own or her own territory. This is a clear violation of the International Covenant on Civil and Political Rights, which Morocco signed in 1979. Now, the situation is extremely volatile. We have a woman whose life is in a limbo. For the only reason that she wants to be with her family. She has 2 children. They are teenagers. She's in her 42 years old. She's 42 years old. She already has experienced jail, disappearance, and torture in Morocco for many years. She was blindfolded for 4 years in a Moroccan jail where she was given for disappear. And her only crime is to claim her right to the free expression, the right of the people of Western Sahara to have a day where they can choose their destiny. And just because of her international recognition and all the awards that you just mentioned, Amy, the Moroccans, they believe that this is a threat to their occupation, and therefore they decided to expel her to Spain. Both Morocco and Spain are responsible of this situation. First of all, Morocco for violating the International Covenant on Civil and Political Rights. And secondly, Spain for allowing Morocco to violate this international covenant and accepting Aminatou in Spain against her own will.
I want to go
Therefore,
right now.
we call on the international community. Yes.
I want to go right now
Yes, sure.
to the Canary Islands, to Lanzarote Airport, where the famous Spanish actor Guillermo Willie Toledo is, who has been with Aminatou now for 3 weeks. Willie Toledo, welcome to Democracy Now! Can you explain exactly where you are, why you're there, and the condition right now of Aminatou Haidar?
Hello, good afternoon, and thank you very much for the interest in this case. Well, we are here in the Lanzarote Airport in the Canary Islands this is the 3rd week of hunger strike of Aminatou Haidar. Me and many other people who are around Aminatou trying to give her message to all over the world. We're here because we are really fed up of our government, which is supposed to be a democratic government, who is traveling around the world speaking about human rights and democracy and civilizations alliance and all that kind of empty words. And they show now that they were all empty words, because we don't understand how a democratic country as Spain is on the side of a country like Morocco, torturing, disappearing people, getting people into secret jails for years and years. I have to remember Aminatou was in a secret jail for 4 years. She already passed through a 45 days hunger strike, and because we don't understand how our government is on the side of Morocco, which is a country that ignores any human right. And we are just fed up of all that situation, mostly because Western Sahara used to be a Spanish part of the Spanish state back in 1975, and the Spanish government, one after the other one since 1975, have been betraying the Sahrawi people who trust us to help them to get to their independence, which I have to say that there is no one single country around the world who recognizes Western Sahara as part of the Moroccan country. Not even the United Nations. There are dozens of resolutions of the United Nations saying and willing for a referendum for the freedom of the Sahrawi people. So we are now with Aminatou and here in the airport since 16 days ago.
Aminatou, her condition, is there any chance she could come on the phone, Willie Toledo?
No, we tried. Today, the past 2 days, she's been very, very bad. Her situation is turned very critical. She can barely speak. She can no more walk. We have to transport her in a wheelchair. And she is sleeping in a very dirty and unhuman hole here in the airport. And she haven't tried no food since 16 days now. And she would like to say to all to you, thank you very much for your interest. And she knew that she could trust many